Knowing what the VA is telling you about your claims is absolutely crucial in the next steps that you need to take. We're going to be looking at two different decision letters. One of them is where the veteran was awarded all of their claims, and the other letter is going to be where the veteran was denied all of their claims. I've gotten permission from this veteran to use these letters, and I've redacted all of the personal information. Jumping straight into the decision letter, you're going to receive an entire packet. I've scrolled down here, but scrolling back up, you're going to see a ton of background information on the veteran, on the VA, how the VA makes decisions, and just a ton of links and sites that you can navigate to. But scrolling down to the meat and the potatoes of this decision letter, it's going to be right here. This is page 1, Department of Veteran Affairs, and the rating decision. This was on May of 22. You're going to have an introduction paragraph here. This veteran was a Gulf War era veteran, so they do meet presumptive status under the PACT Act. And here we have the decision paragraph, and this veteran is rated for lumbosacral strain at 10%, radiculopathy left and radiculopathy right at 20% each. This is a solid example of lumbar strain turning into two different ratings that this veteran was rated for 20% each. So this is definitely a high value claim here. And then number 4 at the bottom, a 70% rating for unspecified trauma, stressor related. That's going to be under the mental health pyramid. Looking at the next paragraph is evidence. The VA will tell you everything they looked at to make this decision, whether that was DBQs. And so here, this medical opinion and DBQ conducted on that date. Another DBQ, initial PTSD DBQ, so lots of DBQs, service treatment records, VA medical center records, and of course the intent to file. If you uploaded personal or private healthcare records, that would be in here as well. And if you've requested the VA to retrieve those private health records, that would also be a part of the evidence. If you have evidence that you don't see in this paragraph here and you were denied, you could potentially use that evidence in a supplemental claim. The reasons for the decision, this is actually the big part of the video. Now, in this case, all of these were awarded. The second decision letter we're going to look at is going to be all denials. But let's go ahead and look at how the VA decides how to award a claim. And so you'll see these codes everywhere in decision letters. It talks about how the VA service connects disabilities. And it says lumbosacral strain has been established as direct military service. And so this veteran's back pain is a result of military service. You see the effective date here and service connection for the intent to file date. It has some more information talking about more than 1 year after discharge of active duty. And here we have an evaluation of 10% with the effective date. And what I like about decision letters is the VA tells you in plain language, here is why we rated you at 10%. The language that you're going to see in your decision letter is going to be language from the 38 CFR. So spine greater than 120, but not greater than 235 degrees. The VA is going to reference everything they do as per the 38 CFR. Another key component in award letters is not only will the VA tell you why they assigned you the rating they did, but they will tell you why they did not assign a higher rating. And again, you can find these symptoms in the 38 CFR. Here you see 38 CFR 4.71a. Moving on to radiculopathy left and right, these are going to be very similar. But here we have left lower extremity has been established as related to the service-connected disability of lumbosacral strain. That is a secondary condition that is connected to lumbar strain. Lumbar strain commonly causes radiculopathy, and as you see here, the veteran can receive 2 different ratings for that. So now that 10% back rating the veteran has turns into 2 additional 20% ratings for each leg. Again, you'll see the reasons why the VA awarded this veteran 20% and not 40%. And you'll see the same thing for the right lower extremity, that the radiculopathy in the right leg secondary service connection at 20%, and not at 40%. Moving down to the mental health disability, this first sentence here, and I'm completely speculating, but this first sentence tells me that the veteran was already service-connected for mental health, but the evidence did show improvement, so they were definitely tiptoeing that decrease line of between 50 and 70%. Luckily, the veteran's evidence, although it showed an improvement, it wasn't definitive enough to actually lower that rating. I would be curious as to when the mental health rating was awarded in the first place. But here, it goes through the symptoms of 70%, and again, straight off of the 38 CFR. When it comes to mental health is all about occupational and social impairment. I'm going to link a video below in the comments that will show you how to navigate the 38 CFR in the easiest way possible. Now, this decision letter is going to show 4 different denials. And again, just like the other one, it's going to be a huge packet. All of this stuff is background information. We're going to focus on what's important here, which is the actual rating decisions and the decision-making process the VA made when making these actual decisions. And so here we go. Here are the 4 disabilities that have been denied. So we have sleep apnea claimed as trouble sleeping due to mental health. So this is a secondary claim that was denied. We have service connection for left foot, service connection for left knee and right knee. This one here says asymptomatic pes planus. This makes me wonder if the veteran claimed left foot condition and then was diagnosed at the CMP exam, but we'll go ahead and find out. Here's the evidence tab. Lots of evidence was reviewed going into this decision. Let's jump into the actual reasons for the denial. And denials are going to be a bit different than the awards. And so starting with sleep apnea, this here says service connection may be granted. So the VA says, hey, if it's aggravated or caused by service, it can be granted. And then they go on to say, the evidence does not show that sleep apnea is related to mental health, nor is there evidence of this disability during the military service. And so that's the VA's way of saying, hey, this isn't connected to mental health and it's not connected direct to military service. In addition to that, the evidence does not show a current diagnosed disability. We know there are 3 things the VA needs for every disability claim. It's the in-service event, the current diagnosis, and the nexus. The first paragraph talks about there's no nexus, there's no link between the 2. The second one talks about there's no current diagnosis, favorable findings in this decision. So this phrase here is going to change depending on what disability we're talking about. This one kind of makes me laugh because it says, hey, sleep apnea, not a chance, but your mental health is service connected, and the veteran already knew that. Moving down to the left foot condition, which is asymptomatic pes planus. And again, the VA says that you can be service connected. Here's how. And then the VA goes along and says that this claim is denied since this condition neither occurred in or was caused by service. So there's a nexus missing there. The VA examiner noted that plantar fasciitis is typical. No documentation of worsening aggravation. Okay. Moving down to favorable findings. This is where this one is really different, where it says, okay, so this veteran was diagnosed with a disability, which is plantar fasciitis, which is different than pes planus, but it is a left foot condition. And then it goes on to show that the evidence does show a qualifying event. And so now this veteran shows an in-service event for a foot condition, although it is different. This is pes planus, that's plantar fasciitis, but it's still a left foot condition. There's a complaint somewhere, and they have a current diagnosis. What they're missing is the nexus. And so if the veteran was to submit a supplemental appeal to this claim, they would have to combat the nexus directly to get that opinion that this left foot condition was caused by service. Moving on to the left knee and the right knee, these are going to be very similar. And so again, the VA says that this can be service connected. They say that this left knee was denied because it wasn't caused by service. And here we have a VA examination. The VA loves to use this word here, opined, that the service treatment records are not significant for a chronic knee ailment. Given that information, there's no nexus that can reasonably be made. Favorable findings in this decision: you have been diagnosed with a disability, left knee strain. And so this one, just like the left foot condition, it says that there is some type of evidence of knee pain in service, and the veteran does have a current diagnosis, and so they would also need a nexus for their knee conditions. But now there's left foot, there's a left knee condition. Let's see if the right knee is on the same thing. Favorable findings, so they've been diagnosed and they have evidence of knee complaints. And so now the veteran knows if they wanted to combat these three claims directly, that they would have to establish the link between the left foot condition, the left and right knee strain, to military service. And that's how you read your decision letters. If you are wanting to appeal the VA's decision, whether that's through a supplemental claim, a higher level review, or straight to the board, you're going to want to know exactly why that decision was denied in the first place.